This negotiation is over. The human ambassador's voice cut through the tense silence like a blade. Before anyone could respond, the entire Terran delegation stood up, turned off their comms, and walked out without another word. Admiral. Vakrith blinked, his scaled fingers tightening around the edge of the war table. What just happened? The humans had been calm. Angry, sure, but calm. Now their silence roared louder than threats. "Get them back," Vakrith growled to his aides. Now, his communication officer scrambled, no response. All human channels had gone dark, no diplomatic lines, no trade routes, no patrol beacons. Within minutes, the humans vanished from the galactic network, like they had simply unplugged themselves. "Impossible," whispered the envoy beside him. "No species has ever gone completely silent." Vakrith's heart pounded. He replayed the last seconds of the meeting, focusing on the ambassador's final words. They weren't shouted. They weren't emotional. Just cold, final, across the Galactic Council. Other empires were already calling emergency sessions. Fear spread fast. The humans didn't leave in anger. They left with purpose. Sensor reports soon flooded in. Human fleets were missing from their known positions. Colonies appeared abandoned. Entire sectors silent. But deep in the void, strange energy readings flickered in the dark. Fleets moving without signals. Ghosts in the night. The humans had gone quiet, and when humans go silent, empires start to die. The humans are gone. All of them. The words hit the Galactic Council like a plasma blast. Every diplomat, warlord, and trade baron shouted at once. The room spun into chaos. They must be bluffing. Someone roared. They wouldn't dare, another hissed. Send fleets, find them. But no one could find them. Human space once filled with ships, trade stations, and booming colonies was empty. Communication relays were dead. Border outposts powered down. Patrol fleets had vanished without a trace. Admiral Vakrith stared at the flood of emergency reports. His jaws tightened. This isn't retreat. This is a message. His top spy, Vela, slid a datapad across the war table. Her voice was cold. Intercepted chatter from their old allies. The humans had a silent war protocol. If they stopped talking, it's already too late. Vakrith's spines bristled. What does that mean? Vela didn't answer. She didn't have to. Across the galaxy, small skirmishes exploded as terrified empires scrambled to seize power before the humans returned. Fleets clashed. Borders shifted. Old enemies tore up peace treaties. But while they fought each other, the humans remained silent. No broadcasts, no threats, no demands. Just nothing. Yet deep space sensors began to pick up strange echoes. Blurs of movement, fleets without transponders, ships appearing and vanishing in the dark. Vakrith's claws tapped the table. "The silence isn't peace," he whispered. "It's a warning." And somewhere out there, humanity was already moving. Another patrol's gone. No distress call, no wreckage. Just gone. Admiral Vakrith's claws dug into his chair. It was the third fleet this week. Whole squadrons sent to scout the human borders were vanishing, erased as if they never existed. His command room smelled of fear. "Show me the last feed," he snapped. A shaky hollow appeared. The patrol ship's sensors flickered wildly, strange shadows moving faster than light, impossible to track. The crew's final words chilled the room. "There's something here." "It's signal lost." "Ghost fleets," his intelligence officer whispered. "That's what the captains are calling them. Shadows. Ships that aren't supposed to exist." Other empires reported the same thing. Quick flashes of Terran vessels, sleek, black, silent, slipping past defenses, slipping into forbidden zones, slipping into nightmares. But they left no survivors. No clues. Only silence. Panic spread like fire. Empires started pulling back, closing borders, accusing each other of triggering the humans' wrath. Former allies turned weapons on each other, desperate to avoid becoming the next target. Still, the humans didn't speak. No warnings, no declarations, only the quiet destruction of anyone who dared to look for them. Admiral Vikrith leaned over the war table, his voice low. "We've miscalculated. They're not just preparing." Vila's eyes locked with his. "They've already started." In the black of space, the ghost fleets moved, and empires began to die. The first shot wasn't fired at humans, it was fired at a supposed ally. The Gralthus Syndicate accused the Devoran Empire of hiding human ships. Without warning, they unleashed a brutal strike on a Devoran border colony. In minutes, the planet's defenses burned. Panic ignited across the galaxy. Trust collapsed. Alliances shattered. No one believed the humans were gone. No one believed anyone else wasn't secretly working with them. Every empire suspected the others, were cutting private deals to survive humanity's silent wrath. Admiral Vikrith's command. Screen lit up with war alerts. 17 new battles. 10 broken treaties. 6 trade blockades. Vikrith's jaw tightened. "We're tearing ourselves apart faster than the humans ever could." "They knew," Vila said quietly. "They knew we'd do this." The silence had worked better than any invasion. Fear had become the weapon. It turned allies into enemies. It made strong empires crack from the inside. Desperate rulers sent spies to find the humans, but none returned. Some tried to surrender before a shot was fired. Others prepared for war against enemies who might not even exist. Vikrith's own war council fractured. Half wanted to attack the remaining empires. Half wanted to beg for peace with humanity, if anyone was even listening. "Divide and conquer," Vela whispered. "But they didn't have to lift a finger." "They're watching us," Vikrith growled, his claws clenching, "waiting." And in the dark, the ghost fleets continued to move. The leak came at midnight, broadcast across every major system. Protocol silence activated. "All forces will cease communication. Engage stealth mode. No contact, no negotiation." Admiral Vikrith's eyes snapped to the screen. The message was clear and terrifying. The humans hadn't gone silent by accident. It was a plan. A secret military protocol buried deep in their command structure. Designed for one purpose: total war by silence. Vila's voice was grim. This wasn't retreat. It was a trap. The Galactic Council erupted again, but this time with a different kind of fear. They had been playing into humanity's hands all along. The silence wasn't a pause, it was a weapon. Vikrith's mind raced. If this was protocol, what came next? If humans stopped talking, it meant they were ready to strike without warning. Reports confirmed it. Colonies once bustling with life were abandoned or destroyed. Supply lines were cut. Human warships moved through sectors cloaked in invisibility. No declarations, no ultimatums. Just quiet annihilation. Vikrith's command room was tense. "We underestimated them, badly." Vela nodded. "They forced us to panic, to turn on each other. And now they're preparing to finish the job." Some empires began sending desperate envoys to try and reopen talks, but the silence was absolute. In the shadows of space, the human fleets waited. And the galaxy waited with them, knowing the worst was yet to come. The alarms screamed louder than any gunfire. Vikrith stared at the holomap as the red beacon blinked wildly over the Vishar colony. The vital planet was under attack, and no one saw it coming. Ships appeared from nowhere, silent, dark, and deadly. They struck without warning, wiping out the colony's defenses in minutes. No transmissions, no calls for help. The first blow had landed. Across the galaxy, panic rippled through command centers. If the humans could do this without warning, no planet was safe. Vela's voice was sharp. "This is just the beginning." Vikrith's fingers drummed on the console. "How did they get through?" "Our scanners didn't detect a thing." They're using stealth tech unlike anything we've seen, Vila answered grimly. Ghost fleets that slip past every sensor. The Council's peace talks were forgotten. Empires mobilized their fleets to defend their worlds. But it was too late. The Shar colony burned. Messages flooded in other systems under attack. Colonies lost. Entire fleets shattered. The humans were no longer silent observers. They had become hunters. Vekrith clenched his jaw. They waited in silence for this moment. We ignored every warning. Now, the galaxy faced the deadly truth. The silence was a weapon, and the humans wielded it with lethal precision. When fear spreads, even enemies find reason to unite. The once warring empires gathered in a secret summit, their mistrust barely concealed behind forced smiles and tight grips on their weapons. Admiral Vekrith sat among former rivals, each one desperate. The humans' ghost fleets were devastating everything. No one could stand alone anymore. We must form an alliance, Vekrith said, voice steady but heavy. Our survival depends on it. Spies and diplomats were dispatched into the dark, heart of human space, hoping to find a weakness, any weakness. But none returned. Some vanished before they even sent a signal. Trade routes were rerouted through dangerous war zones. Fleets combined their firepower and shared intelligence like never before. But even as alliances formed, the humans remained silent. No broadcasts, no demands. Just the endless, deadly quiet. Vila's voice broke through the tension. There, watching, waiting. A sudden alert flashed on Vekrith's console. A human fleet detected near the Andarian system, moving fast and without any signals. Prepare for engagement, Vekrith ordered. The allied fleets moved to intercept, but the humans vanished again, ghosts in the void. The alliance held only by fear and hope, and the galaxy's fate hung by a thread. The silence shattered like a THUNDERCLIP dot across the galactic network. A single broadcast flickered to life, clear, cold, and unyielding. You were warned. Now you'll feel what silence brings. Admiral Vekrith watched the message loop, his jaw clenched tight. No further words, no explanations. Just a promise and a threat. Every empire stopped. Fleets halted mid-move. Diplomats froze mid-argument. The humans had spoken once, and the whole galaxy knew the war had truly begun. Sensors lit up with movement. Human fleets, vast and shadowy, shifted out of hiding. Black ships, silent but deadly, spread across the void like a plague. No warnings. No demands. Just destruction. Vekrith's command room filled with tension. They don't want peace. They want control. Vila grimly added, they've mastered the art of fear. One message. One fleet. Enough to break us. Chaos erupted as border worlds sent desperate calls for reinforcements. Old enemies now fought side by side, but the humans pressed on, unstoppable, invisible, relentless. The silence was over. The humans had unleashed their fury, and the galaxy was burning. The sky burned red above the once mighty worlds. Admiral Vekrith watched helplessly as one empire after another fell to the silent onslaught. Human warships struck with surgical precision, never announcing their presence, never giving time to fight back. Cities turned to ash. Fleets were shredded before they could raise shields. Governments collapsed overnight. Allies betrayed one another to save themselves, Vila reported, her voice tight with exhaustion. Trust is gone. Chaos reigns. The galaxy's great powers, built over millennia, crumbled like dust beneath the human tide. Vekrith clenched his fists. We ignored the silence. We ignored the warning. On distant worlds, resistance pockets fought desperately. But the humans didn't seek total occupation. They destroyed threats and vanished before reinforcements arrived. It was a war unlike any other, a war waged with fear, precision, and silence. Vila's eyes met his. They never wanted conquest. They wanted control. And now the galaxy was theirs. But the silence did not end. For humanity, the final move was yet to come. And then, they disappeared again. The human fleets, vast and unstoppable, withdrew without a word. No demands. No rulers left behind. No flags planted. Just silence. Admiral Veckrith stood in his shattered war room, watching the final battle reports fade from his screens. The great empires were broken, their fleets scattered, their governments reduced to whispers. Vela's voice was hollow. They could have taken everything. Why did they leave? Veckrith's claws tapped slowly against the cold steel table. Because they didn't want our worlds. They wanted our fear. The galaxy trembled in the silence humans left behind. Trade lanes reopened under new, fragile leadership. Survivors scrambled to rebuild what was left. But the ghost fleets remained out there in the dark, always watching. Occasionally, a sensor would flicker. A ship would vanish. A patrol would send a final, terrified message before going dark. But no one dared pursue them now. The humans had taught the galaxy a lesson. When they speak, you listen. When they negotiate, you take them seriously. But when they go silent, you prepare to die. And so, silence reigned. Not because humanity demanded it, but because the galaxy would never risk breaking it again.